Hello, my friends. In today's episode of Treasure or Trash, we will be taking a look at this dude, the Juggernaut. And this is an oversized Brawn from the Bumblebee universe. And while it does appear to be an oversized KO of the Brawn from Hasbro, it is actually not. There are way too many differences with this one. The engineering and everything is quite different. And normally, I would leave the rendering of judgment unto you, my astute viewer, but I'm just going to save you a little bit of time and say he is garbage. He is trash. And it's not because he came with a broken leg. And I did get this from Shozy, and they're in the process of sending me some replacement bits. But even this one, I've had to remove the spring because it is in danger of snapping off just like this. But even that is not the reason why I've rendered judgment and called this trash. But stick around, watch the video, and see if you agree with me, okay? Alright friends, thanks for joining me, and today we're going to be taking a look at Oversized Brawn from the Bumblebee universe. And as you watch in the preface, Treasure or Trash, I've already rendered judgment. I think he's trash, and it's really unfortunate because there's a lot of great points about this guy. There are a ton of amazing things about him, and I don't know, I think the manufacturing really did him wrong. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. The tolerances and everything here not only causes this to break, force me to remove the spring, but also just kind of gets in the way of the transformation. But anyway, before we do all of that, here, let me show you the box. The box is really weird, dude. Hold up for a sec. All right, there. I wanted to adjust the camera angle. It says Metamorphic Universe, right? And dude, look at this face. It looks like AI drew this. Isn't that weird? Isn't that really weird? Like there was some type of like line art of Brawn, and they asked AI to copy it, and therefore like, dude, what is up with his face, man? It's so strange. There are no instructions or anything, but it just says like GSO1 Metamorphic Universe. I actually think that this is a Black Mamba product. It feels like a Black Mamba product. It's like copious metal where I feel like metal shouldn't be. Joints and tolerances just being way too tight in certain areas and just lacking a certain kind of like white glove finesse finish on this. And it's really unfortunate because this could have been great. In terms of accessories, he just comes with this bit, the little drill thing that you can attach at the front of the vehicle. This thing comes apart a la kind of hot rod, and so you have a back blaster, and what was this? This handle comes down, and so you have another like small blaster, and yeah, that's all cool and stuff. But again, I can't really focus on any of this stuff just because he falls short of greatness, which is really unfortunate because look at that face sculpt. Look at the details. Look at the paint and details all over him, actually. Oops, this is kind of, okay, great. There's a ton of great stuff to like about him. Look at his pits. You can even see his armpit or the armpit gears over there. Really cool stuff. There's a lot of like panels that you can move out of the way. Great articulation. You can see that he has the double deep knee bend, and he could do like, hurrah! He could do these cool jumps. Even on the arm, he has the double bend as well, so he could be doing like the beating of the chest. Fingers are all like independent. There are a lot of great things to like about this guy. But man, someone should have QC'd this. The factory perhaps should have kind of stepped in when they eyeballed some of these strange things happening closer to release, because I don't know, man. They wanted to do right by him. Like they put metal in here, and that's all fine and dandy and stuff. But I would say the biggest area is there's lack of space that makes it a little bit too tight. And this area right over here. And I'm going to show you all of this as we go into the transformation. But you know what? I can just show you on this leg, the broken one. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, Shozy is sending me a replacement part, but now I'm going to have to talk to them about, I may just ask for a complete refund or something like that, because the other one, I can see that this is about to break as well. And this thing is on a pole that has a spring attached to it. There's way too much pressure on here. This plastic is too weak. And just what you're demanding of this, it's not made for it. It's just not really made for it. The plastic is decent. It really is. It's good. It's good. And then there's like metal over here. There's metal down here. And there's lots of great stuff. But it's just, there's just too much force for that little tiny joint to endure. And you need to like depress down on it because there's a spring and it's going to spin around. They should have QC'd it properly. They should have done proper QC on this. There's just so many things to like about this guy. That's why it makes me particularly sad. Those are the things that actually make me the most disappointed. So much great potential and just kind of wasted, you know? It's just kind of wasted. It's like seeing a child who's naturally born with like high IQ, and you know that greatness is potentially destined for them, but they get reared up by some, they're raised by some parents who just don't care or just like irresponsible and stuff like that, and that child's life becomes wasted, and you're like, oh, so much potential lost. That's what this guy is. That's what this guy is. But without further ado, let me just kind of move this stuff out of the way, and then let's go on to the transformation. So sad, so sad. Okay, before we go into the transformation, I just wanted to show you the bit that broke off. See this? This is a relatively thin piece of plastic, and this spring is pretty tight. And there's a ton of force just you have to move back and forth on this because this has to endure this kind of like spinning motion and stuff. And it's just really, really poorly designed. Really poorly designed. If that had been made of metal, if this was metal, that would be different. But it just can't endure it. It just can't endure it. So again, just really, really sad. But anyway, we start by just balling the fist up. And then we just, we keep the thumb on the top. And then you got to open this bit up. There isn't like any way where you can like wedge your finger in there or something. So the best way that I found to do it is just kind of push the wrist a little bit, and then you can kind of get a nail in there. And then from there, you can see that there's a big empty cavity inside the forearm. Then you can you can fit that entire fist in there, and then you can close it up, and you're pretty much going to do the same for the other side. I mean, I really love the independently moving fingers and stuff. I think it's a really nice touch. The paint, the gunmetal, everything is done so well. And again, that's why I'm just so disappointed in all of this. Like, I don't really need all of this metal, If anything, all of this metal should have been on the shin so that you could reinforce that transformation bit. And so we just make sure that the thumb, the fist, everything is all in there. And then you can close that up, and it closes up the seam pretty well. You are going to have to manipulate the forearm, the bicep, and twist it. But I don't remember exactly which way it is, but we will figure out in a second. And then so from here, what you're going to do is you're going to lift this slightly up. And you're doing that because more than anything, you're just wanting to release this. Yeah, there you go. These are on ball joints, and they will have a tendency to pop off like it did right there. And I'm just going to have them pop off. But so they are on ball joints. So we will revisit those pieces later. Yeah, they just like to pop off. And then once you do that, you can kind of like lift this up, and everything will just kind of come out. And this is really cool. I think this is really, really well done. I like it. I like how everything's all hidden in there. One of the reasons why I think this is a Black Mamba product is that, I don't know if it's called tolerances, but it's just the tightness of everything. Like, unnecessarily tight. Like, oh, this does not feel good spinning around. Oh, yuck. I'm afraid that that's going to break at some point or something like that. And I'm not sure if the plastic can deal with it. So we've done that. And this bit will kind of like fit under. There's like a lip and tabs, and so it'll fit under. So you want this to be like a kind of aligned. And what's the word? There's a word when everything is, I guess, aligned. Whatever, dude. Like it's flat. There's a word that I'm looking for that I can't think of. Flush. Thank you. Flush. Okay. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna spin all of this. And this is so nice. This is so pretty the way this is coming together. And I can appreciate all of this. And that's why I just want this thing to be so much better than it actually is. Another cool thing, and so here we're gonna pull this down, and then once you do that, you're gonna spin this around so that the tires are on the outside. And then you see that post over there? You're going to spin that bicep around, so these ports, will plug into those posts eventually, like that. And I appreciate the guardrails. I like it when there's stuff like that tells you, like, yes, you've done it correctly, right? And then you're just going to want to maneuver it over here. This is going to be on the outside. You don't have to worry about that for now. And all the metal is kind of clankety-clanketing right now. That's a little annoying. Same thing over here. Pull it down. Did I tell you that this doesn't come with instructions? It does come with the QR code, and that's basically what I followed. And it was like a Chinese YouTube site, Bilibili, and that's where I learned how to do this. But yeah, you plug these in, and then you just get this ready. to kind of sit over here. Gosh, I wish it wouldn't make all this noise. Yeah, and these are supposed to so it's all coming off again. Well, you can push these back up, right? But again, you want to make sure that those are seated in there. The spacing is not very forgiving, meaning like it's everything is pretty jam tight in there. There's not a lot of clearance and stuff. And one of the areas that starts to bug me is that these Popeye fists, these Popeye forearms are really big. They don't really tab into anywhere. And I don't know if I could do this bit now, but the shoulders, they will kind of plug in together. And ultimately, that's what the front of the car is going to look like. And if it was just like that, that'd be like, great, awesome, awesome. But you're going to see that there's going to be stuff kind of like getting in the way. And you can already see that's the front of the car. And I think it looks good. But now, here's where the nightmare scenario happens. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. You're going to do the same thing for this side. I think it goes like this. Then you're going to open this bit up. Yeah, this is all on metal, but I'm like, does it need to be? And there's a little hinge over here, and there's a tab that you can untap, but you don't really do anything with this other than later on just kind of have it come over the top. But then bring the foot down, get this to cross over, and I'm probably messing this up right now. Let me try to remember the orientation of this, because this is all going to come down together like that. All right, just give me 1 second. All right, before we even get to that piece, here's the nightmare part that I was telling you about. So this normally is supposed to be like this, and there's a spring creating this tension here. Then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to push this down, and now you're like compressing that spring. So there's a tremendous amount of force right now bearing down on that post. And then I'm sure I did something wrong with the foot. I got this part right, but yeah, I think I did something wrong with the foot. Oh, maybe it's just like that. Yeah, it's just like that. And then the tire will come down because it's going to be on the outside. Yep, yeah, this is how it goes. And so this is all coming down over here. This came undone. Give me 1 second. I need to clean some stuff up. Sorry, just to kind of recreate that step again. You got to bring this up, and you got to bring this around. And so the foot, the tire is all out here. And this came undone again. All right, and you got to keep this open. And oh, yeah. Sorry. So this has to twist. This has to be on the outside because the kneecap over here is going to plug in to the outside of the tire. Now, as this is happening, those posts that were plugged into here, they're going to start like coming apart. And the Popeye arms really are the things that kind of like get in the way of a lot of stuff. So again, I got to retab all of that back in there. And I'll probably have to do it again and again. But yeah, so this is kind of like the guide rail in that it tabs into this, and that's great. That's fine. This is going to be all back here. This Yeah, okay. Because I need to keep it wide, right? This bit. Let me make sure it's on the right side. Yeah. So this has to fit under here. And I found that it's just easier to wedge it here where it needs to be and then just plug that in like afterward, because I don't know, man. It was just too stubborn for me. And even right now, again, it just kind of popped off again. I think this is really poorly designed. I'll just do that later. And then what happens is this just comes over and it just sits here. It doesn't tab into anything. It just kind of sits there. And then the foot, this will bend up. And that's it. That's what it's supposed to look like. Like, no joke. So like, this is all ugly. And let me try to replicate this. And so this is what I'm talking about over here. The arms, the Popeye arms, and this, like, the mango slices, they're just kind of like getting in the way of one another. I wish I could just kind of maybe keep one out. Because now these things want to come undone. And this is where I just feel like, they flew too close to the sun. There's just too many things that they wanted to do. They didn't properly QC. Oh, okay. There's one big thing that I forgot. So see this little tab right there? That will tab into this area. Yes. And that will secure everything. That's great. And I like that. And that will kind of secure and hold everything in place. But again, the Popeye arms, the mango slices, I just wish there was something that I could do with it. The instructions that I watched online, they seem to have an easier task doing this. So it could be me, but that doesn't take away from the fact that both of the legs, the post, those things are about to break. And there's not a lot of great clearance there. But yeah, so again, just to kind of show you, open this up, get this out of the way. And you can hear that it's heavy, right? And that's going to attach there. The foot's going to flatten out there. And then we can tap in the toe. And then so from like this, you're like, oh, this is not bad. It kind of came together. And I'll say this is probably the best so far. And even the arms are kind of there, but the mango slice is not in there right now. And you can see this is not wanting to really sit down yet. So have to still get, because you can see the arm is right here. And you can see one of the mango slices are also just right there. And so like if I try to move it out of the way to give it a little bit more clearance, yeah, this is where this is just not great. It's not a good feeling, dude. It just really isn't. So I just don't know if there's a better way to get the mango slices in there. There's just not a lot of clearance. And if I try to move the arms down, then it kind of like breaks the sculpt. And so they definitely need to be up here and to some extent. And I think that's the right place, but getting the mango slices in there, man, is rough. Is rough. I'm wondering, do I have it on the wrong side? No, right? No. I'm pretty sure this was correct. But let's pretend I did have it on the wrong side. All right, I'm just going to say that I did have it on the wrong side then. Perhaps it's just supposed to be like that. I don't think it was. I think the way I had it originally was correct. But I will say it does sit here a little bit better, because when this transforms later, this has to go over here and yeah, no. And I apologize if much of this has been off camera. That's not my intent. No, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be here. But for the sake of just getting through with this, I'm just gonna say it goes there. Yeah, I'm quite positive. But I will say that does have better clearance though. And then this is supposed to be like this. And pretty much that's it. I'm going to double check right now just to make sure that I'm not crazy. Give me 1 second, okay? All right, so slight update. I was correct in terms of the orientation. But what I got wrong is that the mango slices don't need to be so deep in there. You can still see that they're there right now, but more than anything, you're just trying to get them to hug this orange thing. And it's better if you just pop them off and then you plop them on, and this is what you're trying to get. So this is the final product. This is the broken leg over here, and I think that's why this is kind of like popping off. I actually think it's fine. Yes, this is kind of like Uggs, and you're supposed to flip the feet up to try to cover this a little bit. That's not bad. If everything was smooth and this wasn't so like clunky and bulky, I would give it a pass. Actually, I would like it a lot. And like I mentioned throughout the video, I really, really want to like this product. But there's just a lot of things about it that are just not settled, that are unsettling for me. These arms not really being able to do something. They really just needed to kind of fix this in terms of the clearance and the spacing. And then having these posts breaking off, basically, that's why I have to render this trash. If there were someone else who were to come over to take over this model, improve those things, it would be treasure, absolute treasure. But for the time being, I'm just going to give this a thumbs down and tell you to avoid it until somebody else can figure this out. Maybe I'm just doing this wrong, and maybe there's someone else out there who can basically do a better job than this, and they'll render judgment and everybody will find out it's treasure. And if that's the case, then beautiful, wonderful, wonderful. But at least in my personal experience, what I've just gone through, sorry, thumbs down, trash, avoid. Thanks for watching.